Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Wednesday, May 11th, 2016, around 6:37 in the morning, Billerica, Massachusetts. It's sunny out, gonna be in the mid-70s. Spring is finally here, and maybe a taste of summer later on in the week. Some news to report. The Boston Red Sox beat the Oakland A's by a score of 13-5 last night. In the NBA playoffs, the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the San Antonio Spurs by the score of 95-91 to go up 3-2 in the Western Conference semifinals. The Thunder could close it out Thursday night on ESPN. And in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Pittsburgh Penguins eliminated the Washington Capitals by the score of 4-3 in overtime. The Penguins advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals to face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Another disappointing season ending for the Washington Capitals. They won the President's Trophy, but it's the curse of the President's Trophy. The winner of the President's Trophy usually doesn't make the Stanley Cup Finals. And Dana White, president of UFC, is in talks of selling UFC for a cool $4 billion. And that's about it on the news. My first video blog subject of the day is the last of a series of the top 100 greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Now I reached number 10 through number 1. And here they are, number 10 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Stan, the Lariat Hansen. Stan was from Texas, Borga, Texas. He was a very rough wrestler, and he had most of his success in Japan. He won many titles in Japan, being one of the best foreign-born wrestlers of all time. In Japan, he was very loyal to Giant Baba. He won the Triple Crown Championship many times. In the United States, he's famous for breaking Bruno Sammartino's neck. And also, he won the AWA World Championship in 1985. He only held it for about 6 months, and he left the AWA because of a dispute with Vern Gagne. He took the AWA World title with him because he was being promoted in the summer of 1986 in All Japan as AWA World Champion by Giant Baba, and Vern Gagne did not want that. Number 9 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino was the longest reigning WWE champion of all time. He had 2 reigns. He was a very strong man. He sold out Madison Square Garden the most times, having legendary feuds with superstar Billy Graham, Ivan Koloff, Gorilla Monsoon, Bill Watts, and so many others. And he trained Larry Zbyszko. Eventually, Larry Zbyszko turned on him for many years. After his career ended, Bruno Sammartino was bid to the WWE, but in 2013, they made amends, and Bruno got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Number 8 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Hunter Hearst Helmsley has been in the world of sports entertainment since the early 1990s. He was trained by Karl Kowalski. He wrestled in some independents and then WCW as Terrorizing and John Paul Levesque. He went to the WWE in 1995 and as Triple H, and he started off as a mid-carder. He got punished because of the infamous Click incident, but then he hit his stride, becoming Intercontinental Champion a couple of times, forming DX, and then becoming the Game, and he won many WWE world titles and intercontinental titles and WWE tag team titles. He was kind of the focus point of the WWE for many, many years. He's married to Stephanie McMahon. They have 3 daughters, and when Vince McMahon passes away, Triple H will be the owner of the WWE. Number 7 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, Antonio Inoki. Antonio Inoki was a legend in Japan. He was like the founder and owner of New Japan Wrestling, winning many major titles there. Also, he wrestled for the WWE in the United States at Madison Square Garden many times. He actually won the WWE Championship over Bob Backlund in 1979, but that title change was never acknowledged on television. So if it never happened, it never happened. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2010. Number 6 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, Ricky Dozen. Ricky Dozen was one of the most famous Japanese wrestlers of all time. He was a legend. He wrestled in Japan and the United States. He feuded with a lot of wrestlers, and he was one of the best. Legends of his matches are still talked about today. Number 5 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the best wrestler in the Attitude Era for the WWE. He sold more merchandise than any other wrestler. Austin 316. He wrestled several field gimmicks like Stunning Steve Austin in WCW and a Grandmaster. But the King of the Ring 1996, Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 says, "I just kicked your ass." And that catapulted Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was a heel at first, but then he became a babyface because the fans were cheering him like crazy, even though he was a rule breaker. And he feuded with Vince McMahon and Triple H and The Rock and so many others. Bret the Hitman Hart. List goes on and on. Many times he won the WWE Championship. He loved drinking beer and giving Stone Cold Sadunas. He could have been higher on this list, but a neck injury probably ended his effectiveness as a technical wrestler. All of his matches were brawls after he injured his neck in 1997 by a tombstone pile driver by Owen Hart. Number 4 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. Buddy Rogers was one of the best heels in the 1950s and 1960s. He won many regional championships. In 1961, he defeated Pat O'Connell for the NWA World title in Comiskey Park in Chicago, and he says it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And for the next 2 years, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers defended the NWA World title, but mainly in the northeast part of the United States because Vince McMahon Sr. controlled his bookings, and eventually Vince McMahon Sr. and the people in the northeast did not like the way the NWA was being run. They succeeded from the NWA, formed the WWF, and Buddy Rogers was the first WWF championship. He lost it to Bruno Sammartino in May of 1963, went into semi-retirement for years. 1978, he made a comeback in Florida in a Mid-Atlantic Championships Wrestling, feuding with another Nature Boy, Ric Flair. He also came back to WWE in 1982 for Rogers Corner and to manage Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He did that because he was flat broke. And Buddy Rogers passed away in 1992. He was voted into the WWE Hall of Fame posthumously in 1994. Number 3 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, the icon of professional wrestling, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan brought wrestling from the smoky arenas to mainstream. He started his career in several regional territories, WWE, AWA, Championship Wrestling from Florida, and others. And when Vince McMahon Jr. bought the WWE off his father in 1983, he went national and he selected Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik for the WWE title at Madison Square Garden on January 23rd, 1984. And Hulkamania ran wild in the WWE for 9 years, winning it 5 times, feuding with Andre the Giant, Rowdy Piper, Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, Macho Man Randy Savage, Sergeant Slaughter, The Undertaker, Yokozuna. List goes on and on. Also, Hulk Hogan was in a lot of movies, a lot of television shows, appeared on talk shows, you name it. Then Hulk Hogan went to WCW, beating Ric Flair for the WCW World Title at Bash at the Beach in 1994. He held it for about 15 months, but the fans were tired of the red and yellow of Hulk Hogan. Eventually he turned heel and joined the NWO with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Eventually that grew too much, and Hogan was the WCW World Champion many times, but he got backstage control with his character, creative control. Eventually he went back to the red and yellow, and then he went back to the WWE, winning another world title. Hulk Hogan is a WWE Hall of Famer. In 2005, starting a lot of reality shows. Number 2 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, Lou Thesz. Lou Thesz had a 50-year career in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. He was the NWA World Championship for 6 times. He was a rugged wrestler. Even though he was a face, he kind of broke the rules. He continued to wrestle until 74 years old on a part-time basis. His last match was in 1990 against one of his wrestlers he trained, Massimiliano Chono. And number 1 on this list of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Ric Flair started his wrestling career in 1972. He was trained by Vern Gagne, and he wrestled in the AWA and then in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. He survived an airplane crash in 1975, and he just became an icon in the world of wrestling, especially Mid-Atlantic, winning many Mid-Atlantic championships. He became the NWA World Champion in 1981, defeating Dusty Rhodes, and he took on all-comers like Dusty Rhodes, Wahoo McDaniel, Rowdy Piper, Jack Briscoe, Kerry Von Erich, Harley Race, Ronnie Garvin, Magnum TA, Jimmy Garvin, Lex Luger, Sting, Vader, and so many others. And he also went to the WWE in 1992, winning the Royal Rumble in 1992 to becoming WWE Championship. He was only the second man to hold the WWE Championship in the NWA/WCW World Title. He had feuds with Macho Man Randy Savage, but the Hitman had in the WWE. Then he went back to WCW to continue on. In 2001, he's known for as well being the leader of the legendary Four Horsemen. He and Sting wrestled the final match in WCW history on Nitro on March 26, 2001, and then he went to the WWE again in 2001 as co-owner of the WWE and the storylines, and he was on and off WWE television until he retired in 2008, and then he went to TNA for a while. He's back on WWE television managing his daughter Charlotte. And he famous for saying several quotes: "To beat the man, you got to beat a man. You got to beat the man. And whether you like it or you don't like it, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today." Ooh. That's about it on this list. This was a very impressive list, and these lists I'm doing will take a spring break. They'll probably be back in June, and the next one will be the top 50 greatest women's professional wrestlers of all time. So look for that in June. 2 other video blogs coming today. First video blog will be about the classic TV game show Break the Bank, the 1976 version, which was produced by Jack Barry and Dan Enright. Tell you about that. And third and final video blog of the night will be about former NHL player Ken Hodge Sr. Keep calm, everybody. I'm Julie Budding Guy, Molly Rosenblatt, WCCO. Roxanne has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart, so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swensy's so awesome. Linda Church of WPIX TV New York. Roxanne has nice legs. And in the word of Dr. Thomas Shockey, this action will not be tolerated at BMHS. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.